AM 970 WSTX. Norman Dr. John Dr. with you, and also with us.
Hey, 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 listening audience, what's up? This is your M Love in the house. A little under the weather, you know, the pollen stuff have been doing me in, but I am here ready to serve the people. Hope you guys are having a great Friday evening so far.
And this evening we have a special guest with us. We may be having somebody trying to visit us this evening. We're not too sure about it, but we have a very special guest here with us in the house. Go ahead, my brother.
Well, it's Hollywood Midland on the other side of the controls, and other controls tonight. So I guess I'm very honored to be here in Chase.
And we so
Yes,
Thank
definitely.
you.
yeah. We don't have a control around. Nobody controlling tonight. We're all gonna handle the controls this evening.
All right.
But it's good to be here this evening. I think that's our first show after a long
Great.
hiatus.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's good to be back. Of course, at one point the station was having some technical difficulties, and then following that we had some adjustments to make. By the way, folks, those of you who are familiar with Shanice is now engaged in graduate studies, and she's still holding her full-time job. She says that possibly she's gonna join us as a guest this evening, but we've not heard from her, so we're gonna see what happens as the hour unfolds.
Let's see. Hopefully she comes in. She's been a little under the weather too, coming down. So we hope we could get her for a few minutes.
But for those who are parents tuned into this program, even if you're on Facebook watching us, because we're live streaming on Facebook as well. Call the children, especially those in high school, junior high, and even the elementary grades. Let them tune into this program because we'll be talking about matters, issues that impact them, their scholastic engagement, what's happening around them, and maybe they even have a chance if they want to call in and share with us. We'd be happy to have them. You know.
Well, we basically save their lives.
hmm
But of course, we have to put the good Lord in everything that
Absolutely,
we do. So let's start off with a prayer.
absolutely. All right. Who's going to do the prayer?
Anybody
wanna do it?
take a shot?
Do us the honors.
Come on. Heavenly Father, we come before you today or tonight, lifting up every student, child, and young adult stepping back into the classroom for this new school year. We thank you for the gift of education, the opportunity to learn, the bright potential you have placed inside each and every one of them. Lord, as they slide on their backpacks and walk through those school doors, we pray for your protection. Guard their steps, cover their going in and their coming in, and going out and they're coming in, and surround our school grounds, buses, and neighborhoods with your peace and safety. Keep them safe from all harm and unwanted distractions. We ask you, and we ask you, and we ask for your wisdom and clarity of mind. Grant our students to focus, to study well, the understanding to grasp new concepts, and the perseverance with lessons get tough. Remove all fear, anxiety, and self-doubt, and replace it with confidence, knowing that you have given them the ability to succeed. Fill their hearts with kindness and grace. Help them build positive friendships, to stand up against bullying, and to be a light of encouragement to classmates who might be struggling or feeling alone. Bless our teachers, our administrators, and parents with patience, strength, and resources needed to guide, support, and inspire our youth every step of the way. May this school year be filled with growth, health, joy, great achievements. We place this entire school year into your hands, believing that big things are in store for our community's future. In your powerful and holy name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. We say amen
Thank
to that.
you.
And I just want to say that as the program unfolds and we touch upon the challenges, the issues that the educational system is faced with,
Mhm.
because it's not just one individual or two individuals; it's the entire system suffering. And so I just want to remind parents that when, at the onset of this program, back in August, I think it was, of last year, we launched this program. I spoke about the importance of having children, students, um, develop a vision statement and a mission statement. And basically, the vision statement talks about the destiny where the youth, the children, the students expect to find themselves, say, 10, 15 years from now. In other words, what's the goal in life? And the mission statement outlines the means whereby they're going to get to that goal, they'll accomplish that. And so I have given some basics in terms of how that can be done. Maybe at another show we can do that. But essentially, parents need to sit down with their children, discuss career possibilities, aspirations, etc. Talk to them about attitudes. It has been said that your attitude determines your altitude, and to help them chart a course in terms of where they want to get to and how they're going to get to that. And it's important that the children understand that you are known by the company that you keep. That's why this is about choices, making wise, prudent choices. And I suppose this program holds important parameters, not just for the children, but even for adults, because we understand that the frontal lobe of the brain is not fully developed not until the age of 25. And so and the frontal lobe is the part that's responsible for logical associations and just thinking in a logical manner, in a mature manner, to resolve conflict, to deal with challenges, etc. And so our children need help as they traverse that period, between being the teenage years in particular and the age of 25.
Definitely. Yeah. It's a tough world out here today, so we need to definitely instill a lot of prayer over the children. As a parent, if you could make some time to pray with your kids in the morning before they leave that house, and also in the nighttime before you lay your head down to rest. It's prayer is very important.
Mm-hmm. I hope we can get to, and of course, if parents want to call and share with us, we would certainly appreciate it. But as we move on, we've had some challenges with the opening of school. And I'm not just talking in terms of facilities that were not ready completely or fully to receive the students, but I'm talking about some incidents that have taken place and some reactions I've seen online. And my grandson was with me when we looked at the scene of the fight on the school bus. And some people who commented spoke about growing up and what parents did and using the rod for corrections. And my grandson made a statement to the effect that, well, does that make sense to beat a child at that age? And I told him, well, I got my beatings, and they might have helped quite a bit in terms of who I am today. I do agree that we progress. We've come a long way. This is not the 12th or 13th centuries. We're now in the 21st century. And maybe we can make some adjustments in terms of punishment, but we need to exercise punishment sometimes.
You see, I believe, and I wasn't there with you, but the grandson was opposed to what you were stating. The word beating is a negative word.
Okay.
Maybe he's thinking, well, why not get them and speak to these people, talk to them, and have them understand what they're doing is wrong, which is nothing wrong with that.
Right.
Spare not the rod and spoil the child. I believe in that. However, some people take it further into the abusive stage.
Right.
And that's where the problem is. Now, getting back to prayer, for instance, as a territory of the Virgin Islands, we should have not getting into this nonsense about taking pride of our schools. I'm going to tell you why. The whole thing is an illusion.
Mhm.
The meaning of that was leading children into prayer.
Mhm.
And some of you listening to Google it. Google it. Google
Mhm.
it, atheist, whatever her name is, whatever.
Mhm.
We're not focusing on how we're focusing on the subject.
Mhm.
Focus on not just separation of church and state, focus on the fact that you're not leading children into prayer.
Mhm.
That's where the problem came,
Mhm.
where teachers and people in authority were actually leading children into their own prayer
Mhm.
and having them repeat after me.
Mhm.
You don't do that.
Mhm.
See? And that's where they missed the ball. That's the reason why, because it was being abused,
Mhm.
the Supreme Court said, you know what? Bam,
Mhm.
we don't want to pray in schools, period.
Mhm.
But what about the private schools? The private schools have prayer.
Mhm.
We used to flex to the flag of the United States. Are they still doing that in public schools?
Mhm.
Mm.
Well, here is the thing. American society has evolved and changed because of the number of different cultures and peoples, ethnic groups coming to live together in America. And that's good
Sure.
because even when you read the Bible points to first of all, the Bible establishes that in the seed of Abraham, people don't realize that in the seed of Abraham, all families of the earth would be blessed. Not some, but all. And when you get into the book of Revelation, it speaks about a gathering of people for the kingdom, which comprise of all races and nations on earth. So we need to this business of we wanting to discriminate against this one and that one because of skin color, hair texture, and all of this. This is totally uncalled for. We are all human beings. Bones are all white, blood all red.
That's correct.
We got to understand that. And so, in an attempt to exercise tolerance for divergent views and beliefs, somewhere along the lines a decision was made that we shouldn't have prayer in schools. But as you pointed out rightly, the private schools continue, and it doesn't matter whether it is a Chinese family, a Japanese family, a Muslim family, a Buddhist family who chooses to send their children or child to a parochial school, say St. Joseph's. When the religious instruction comes up, the prayer comes up, they will participate. Because as you get to become part of this entity, this institution, you come in with the understanding that you will accept the guidelines, the regulations, the rules of that institution. And in a sense, the individual is not greater than the whole. The whole, consisting of all, supersedes the individual. That doesn't mean that your individuality has been cast aside, but you pause your individuality for the greater good of the whole. That's what we're talking about. And so I think people need to exercise that level of understanding. And it's a give and take situation. So I don't think that we should have just simply cast aside prayer in the schools. We should find a medium whereby all parties can come together and
But
participate.
it's funny because I started out school in the Virgin Islands.
Mm-hmm.
I was a victim of bullying,
Mm-hmm.
basically. Okay, I was
Mhm.
kicked out of school because I was a bully victim.
Mm-hmm.
And they said you need to be beaten up, stamped on, and don't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
And I decided one day, you know what, I'm tired of this. You have to stop knocking me, kicking me on my feet, and punching me in my head.
Mm-hmm.
So I grabbed the guy, my fellow student, says, look, you got to stop it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And I mean, I guess they didn't like the way I grabbed it. I just grabbed them and said, you got to stop it. Stop what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
You're hurting me. Why are you doing this to me? And I was kicked out of school.
Mm-hmm.
And to make a long story short, it ended up in court.
Mm-hmm.
The government of the Virgin Islands, with the auspices of Judge Hoffman, God rest his soul, I was able to thank him when I finished high school.
Mm-hmm.
He said, you know what? You kicked Charles Nibbs out of school illegally,
Mm-hmm.
and you're responsible for him, his education.
Mm-hmm.
The government said, oh, we're going to send him to maybe a military school or military this in Puerto Rico. I said, no, nonsense. you're going to send him, he's going to get his education.
Mm-hmm.
To make a long story short, I was educated in Pennsylvania at the Manor Preparatory High School.
Mm-hmm.
50 of us graduated in the class. It was a small preparatory school. Out of 54 of us were black students.
Wow.
I was a valedictorian,
Uh-huh.
and Eric De La Rosa was a salutatorian
Mm-hmm.
in Detroit, Michigan. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And I came back to the Virgin Islands. And for all the teachers that had it down their heads like this,
Mm-hmm.
to know how you can kick me out of school
Mm-hmm.
for being a victim of bullying.
Mm-hmm.
So today, when I stand before parents and children, I'm standing with authority. I know I was there.
Mm-hmm.
Some would say, "Oh, Officer Nate, you don't have to worry. You've been." No. I've been there.
Mm-hmm.
I had a choice to make, either to be a criminal
Mm-hmm.
or law-abiding citizen. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
but I was angry.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I was angry. Thank God I was, in a sense, gifted. Thank the good Lord, intellectually,
Mm-hmm.
able to pass my grades, because when I was kicked out, they had me come in the school, take my exams, and leave.
Mm-hmm.
But the bully was still on the campus.
Mm-hmm.
See? So I say this to a lot of parents. There's a lot of bullying going on.
Mm-hmm.
And in working with a lot of young people, I lost 2 of my sons to bullying in the States.
Mm-hmm.
The parents left from here, took them to the States, and that was the end of that.
Wow. Now. And parents listening, interested parties who are listening, children listening, I want us to pay attention to that, because Brother Nibs here has had a unique perspective in that you found yourself, just 4 of you, African Americans, for lack of a better expression,
Sure.
going to school with 46.
It was 50 of us graduated. This was a white school.
So you had 46 whites.
It was $15,000 a year.
Right.
The government paid for me to be educated.
Okay. So here it is that you, 4 guys, colored, African American.
Two black, 2 males, and 2 females.
Okay, and all the others, the 46 others, white.
Rich kids,
So
right? Yeah.
that gave you a unique perspective. You had to deal with that, and I want you to tell us how you handle that, because we have youngsters coming into the Virgin Islands right now. They're coming from an Asian background. We have some coming from Chinese background. We have some coming from Caucasian background. We have some coming from other Caribbean areas such as Haiti, Dominican Republic. When they come in here, they're finding themselves in a similar situation to what you experience. And that creates friction sometimes. So can you share with us how you're able to adjust and deal with it? And if you encountered any kind of adverse behavior from the others, the majority white, if I may.
Very good question. Very good question. It was in 1976, 1974, 5, 6, so 1973, 4, 5, 6. My fellow students, they loved us. I experienced no type of racism at that school. None. As a matter of fact, I remember one time we went to Maine. It was summertime. I was only black in the group walking through the town of Maine, and people were coming out peeping, and some of my white friends said, "Oh, stop peeping, take a picture." Last one I said, "Leave the people alone, man." You're not constantly seeing a black man walking around here.
Wow.
Okay? They defended me. Yes, you couldn't mess with Charles Nix.
Wow.
You couldn't mess with me. They would beat the living daylights out of you. Okay? And some of them were from racist families.
Wow.
And they taught me a lot of things.
Wow.
They told me why some racist families don't like us. Not because we are black, because of our behavior, and how they themselves don't like their own color.
Wow.
Behaviors. So I learned a lot from both angles. Okay? But being the only black in the classroom, I remembered one time in the classroom, and parents, you listen to me. Some of you might don't meet us, but maybe on the street or meet Norman or his family and say, "Oh, I want to call." You can call right now if you wish. Okay? 340-773-0390, 340-773-0490. This is your program. We're doing it for you, okay?
Absolutely.
And that's the important thing. Okay. I remembered I wanted to always learn to type. I remember walking into the classroom. Typing was an elective. It wasn't required to graduate. So Kathy Williams, God rest her soul, white teacher from Louisville, Kentucky. She was a Kentuckian, okay? Really southern baby. I sat under the typewriter. I got frustrated. I said, oh, man, I can't type this thing. I got up and I was walking. And she said, Charles, where you going? I said, man, I'm leaving, man. I don't like this. She said, no, no, you sit right here. You sit right here, Charles. You sit right here. Sit right here. Put her hands on me. 3 months from that day, I was teaching the class. I used to win the championship type. I used to have about 180 words a minute.
Mm-hmm.
I used to win the championship in Philadelphia for our school, and also accounting and stuff I learned and whatever, and also stenography, court stenography. I've also experienced in that and teletype machinery.
Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
I think we got Shanice.
So what I'm saying is, when you are in a family, we were a family like that, and you never experienced any racism or whatever. I mean, they used to have ceremonies every other week. We used to no discrimination, none whatsoever. Rich kids' families used to come there, and
Wow.
some of them used to be like, this kind of way, but
Yeah.
their sons and daughters used to say, hey, this is Charles, this is my friend, Charles. And one time I had a friend, Peter. He told me his father was coming to visit. So I said, okay, Peter, I'd like to meet your dad. Now, one thing I didn't know about is that his dad was a racist. When his dad arrived, I peeked him, and then because we were living school, so I went downstairs, and right away I walked up to him and I put my hands around, said, hey, this is the dad, Peter, and whatever. Let me tell you something. The limousine he was driving, the window pulled down. That man turned all kind of colors. He have never shook a black man's hand.
Wow.
Peter said, I've never seen my father. I pushed my hand up. This is, hey, this is Peter, my friend. You're the dad and everything. Every time he came to that school, he always asked about me, bring little gifts and gifts for me.
You know, as you mentioned that before we go to Shanice, I understand Shanice has joined us, right?
Yeah, she's there, but I don't know.
As you discussed that with us, you know what came to mind? A movie I saw when I was growing up I think that was in the 70s, with Sidney Poitier, Guess Who's Coming Home to Dinner. Interesting,
right?
Yeah. But is Shanice here with us?
Yeah.
Okay. I understand that our guest, Shanice has been on the program with us, but because she's engaged in graduate studies and she's still teaching full time, she's taking a pause, but she has agreed to join us this evening. Shanice, come on. Say hi.
Hello. Good night, everyone.
Good night. Good night.
Good night, and welcome.
Welcome.
Good to see you. You're looking fine, man.
I'm here. I'm back to school, even though I'm feeling a little under the weather. My voice is going away, but I'm here.
We hope that the dust is not impacting you like how Mandy has her issues here. She says it's the dust in the atmosphere. I don't know. The dust is there. Doesn't bother me. You know. I guess I'm typical African, so that doesn't bother me. The dust comes out of Africa, Yeah.
So are we not? So that means we're not African.
I didn't go that far. I just simply said I'm typical African.
Okay. Shanice got school germs, right?
Yes, this happens every year. The first few weeks of school, I always come down with something.
Oh man, I know how it is.
Let me tell you, we're having some issues and challenges here in the Virgin Islands in terms of fights with the opening of school. Are you all experiencing such things up there in Atlanta?
When you say difficulties, I feel like it's getting worse every year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
It's getting worse every year?
Yes, the discipline is getting worse. The lack of support is getting worse. It seems to be an ongoing issue.
So are you submitting to us that the challenges we're having here in this territory of the United States of America, where our children have returned to school for the academic year, and we had a fight on one of the school buses? Then I understand that today at one of the high schools we had about 3 or 4 fights. Are you all experiencing similar situations up there?
So yes, I feel like because it's still warm outside, and I don't know what it is about the warm weather, but it seems to turn people up, and I don't know. We're just trying to figure out best way to handle situations. They have banned cell phones, so that seems to be helping a little bit in terms of, students being on their cell phones, which has, they can get on there and say, hey, we're gonna meet up at this time to have a fire or something. That seems to be helping a little bit, but overall, I don't know. They just sometimes, for lack of better words, they just act like animals at a zoo.
But let me ask you something. You, with your perspective as a teacher in the classroom in these times, because your experience is different from mine. In my days, it wasn't as bad as it is today. So, my question to you, based upon some of what I've heard expressed by students and parents, one of the fights we had on the school bus, it appears that the consensus is that the fight was over a chain that one child was wearing. And some parents feel that there should be restrictions in terms of whether children should wear gold chains to school, you know, cutting back on the jewelry. And some parents feel, hey, why not, if the people have the jewelry, why shouldn't they be allowed to wear it? Do you think that it's prudent for us to restrict what the children wear to school? My grandson has one of, what's the kind of bag he has? He says it's limited edition, and he's
I
the only
can't
one who has
stand
one.
it. I personally can't stand that bag, the shark bag. What is it, spray ground? I would never purchase it for him. I actually didn't purchase it for him. His dad did. I
Well,
don't like it.
he's
He
proud to
asked
say
for
that,
it last school year, and I declined getting that. I didn't. I can't afford it, and I was not buying it.
well, he feels good to say that he's the only one who has that bag in school. It's limited edition.
Well,
So let me hear, what's your take, guys? How do you all feel about it?
Well, right now online, I have a psychologist.
Uh-huh.
This is one of our village daughters. Her
Mhm.
name is Dr. Zena V. Peters.
Okay.
She's a PhD psychologist.
Uh-huh.
She has an office in Houston, Texas
Uh-huh.
right now, and she's also going to be on our program on Monday.
Okay.
And she listened in a little excerpts of what you were saying or whatever,
Uh-huh.
the case is. Okay, and it surrounds the same thing. Zena, you there?
Yes, hi, I'm here.
Yes.
She wants to comment?
This is Norman Duabron Baptiste. He's the host. His daughter is here and stuff. And I'm also a guest. Also, we have Sharice. That's her name. Shanice is also here with us. Yes, and that and stuff. And from your point of view, because we have a whole lot of fights and stuff like that on the buses, and people wearing these people gold chains to school and whatever, and what the case is and what's not. And from what you have seen in the States, because you're out of Houston, Texas area, do we have similar
Right.
incidents up there?
Definitely you'll see the school fights and
Wow.
things like that. Especially you'll see it in the media if it's something that's been escalated. So it's not isolated, say, just to our island. But it's unfortunately you see it elsewhere, not only at home.
Mhm.
But that reflects changing times. So as a psychologist, what are your recommendations in terms of what those in authority, especially here in the territory, what would you recommend, suggest in terms of action steps that can be taken to minimize and manage such situations?
Well, that's a great question. I think, it's really a community effort, not just left for one individual or one particular leadership role to take on. We have to really start with the way we communicate. In terms of using communication and words to hopefully settle disputes or situations that escalate into physical fights and altercations. I also think and I don't think this is unique to the U.S. Virgin Islands or St. Croix, but us as a community, we have to make sure when we see things like this, we call it out and try to see if there's ways that we can, hopefully in the future, come together with those kids, sit them down, and try to understand where they're coming from. Sometimes when we see fights or we see someone acting out behaviorally, the situation that maybe led to the altercation is like the end result. They might have been something before that, right? They could have come to school or come into that environment maybe already quote unquote activated or angry, or something could have been disruptive elsewhere, and then they come into a space where now they're triggered even way we communicate to children matters, not only what we say, but how we say it. And we have to come from a non-judgmental approach. You know, kids are truly, they're not little adults. They're literally growing. They're literally maturing every day. And so we have to approach them gently. I don't think I have a solution that I could give that could prevent all type of maybe in-school violence or fight, but I think our approach and how we handle it is super important. And then also being proactive, right? Not waiting for a fight to happen to start discussing how there are other ways to handle matters of, dispute. Kids watch and pay attention to everything we do. So the way we communicate, the way we handle confrontation, the way we handle conflict, they are paying attention. So it is not just one particular, say, our teachers or our parents. It's really a community effort to really approach this differently.
So then let me ask you a question. In a situation where a monitor or monitors are not present and one child or student is bullying another, how would you suggest that those who are standing by and watching, how should they handle it? Should they step in and deal with the bully? Should they try to? I would like to hear your recommendation.
Yeah, I appreciate that question because I can answer it personally as someone who has been bullied before, and I can answer professionally, right? So, being bullied is very much a feeling, an experience of feeling sometimes very isolated and alone. Sometimes you might be surrounded by your friends, and your friend's not sure what to do. They don't want to become the target of the bully. And I also think when we talk about intervening, we want to make sure we're not going to make it worse. I think the bystanders or the others who are watching, they do have a part to play. They can also share what they see, go quickly report it to a teacher or someone in authority, right? Not just sort of stand by and watch what happens. And then the individual, sometimes it's really hard for them to be the one to report it, right? So I think when we speak to our children, we have to say, when you see another kid being picked on or being bullied or being targeted, I don't want you to just stand around and giggle. I don't want you to be a part of the pain that is happening to that child. It's okay to go to the teacher. It's okay to go to some adult, right, in that space and say, this is happening to this student. I just want you to be aware of it. Because sometimes when the child that's being bullied go and report it, they may not always be taken seriously in the moment. It might be dismissed. And that could be very emotionally taxing on the child, right? So now they don't know who to turn to. So I don't want necessarily to say the bystanders or the other children in that space should intervene, because now we don't want to create fights and toxic environments. But I think it is very important that we encourage kids to speak up. You see something that's happening that's not right, that's not okay for your peers to be treating someone else like that. Maybe even report it to your parents. Maybe if you don't feel comfortable, maybe your parent can mention, my child has brought to my attention that this student is being picked on. I want you to be aware of it. And that might sometimes really help in terms of the communication piece to hopefully not have fights, right? So, sometimes when parents are aware, they can intervene so much earlier, right? They can have a sit-down conversation with the school authorities, with the guiding counselors, or maybe even the other children's parents, and come to some sort of understanding that this is not going to be tolerated in this space. It might be funny to you, but it's not funny. It's not a good thing to bully another child. And sometimes our bullies have been bullied themselves, right? So they get into the role of being a bully so that they can seem like they're big and powerful and they're no longer a target. So it all comes back to the way we speak to our children. It all comes back to us empowering our children to speak up. It is not just watch and observe. You can play a part, but you don't have to physically or intervene to make it worse.
Well, Dr. Peters,
Don't let her run yet,
Don't let her run yet? No. It's funny. This was not rehearsed. She did not know I was going to do this. This is spontaneous. She's at a coffee shop.
Oh,
Because I
wow.
want one last question to her. Since we have many of those situations having a catalyst in the communities, we even had a situation where one parent actually ended up shooting a young lady a couple of years ago in one of our in our years. You remember that?
Oh,
Yeah.
the incident. Okay, yeah.
Okay, so I what I want to know is what can we do as an individual community, if I may, in terms of initiatives that would foster more of understanding and compassion and getting our youth, our children to simmer down a bit and to extend the olive branches as opposed to getting into conflicts. Any suggestions?
I want to just say a part of your, when you were speaking, I couldn't hear part of what you were sharing. If you could just repeat again what you started off with, I didn't hear you.
Okay, I was saying that a number of the conflicts we see even on the school buses and on school premises seem to have their genesis in the communities where the children live.
Okay.
And I'm asking, what can we do as a community, an individual community, say, what kind of steps that we can take to bring about a feeling of empathy, sympathy, compassion, more of consideration and loving kindness in our communities? What kind of activities would you recommend, suggest that we implement?
Oh, that's a great question. And I want to be transparent that I won't say I have the perfect solution, but I can give some suggestions.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of, you shared like in the community, maybe the environment that our kids are coming from, maybe they're seeing conflict, or we want to really create a space where people are more empathetic and kind to each other.
Mm-hmm.
That starts with each and every one of us, right? It doesn't just rely, we just can't turn it over just to the parents, right?
Mm-hmm.
Our neighbors, our fellow folks in the grocery store. Everyone can play a part.
Mm-hmm.
I think when it comes to I think about my growth and my development on the island. I can remember everyone that was kind to me in my growth and my development, and I can also remember everyone, even especially adults, that were not kind to me and did not speak well to me. So I think when it comes to how we can create an environment that's more empathetic, we have to start with ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to also watch how we criticize our youth, right? Because they're listening.
Mm-hmm.
I want us to be very mindful, right? I'm not saying words will solve everything, but it is a start. And if we are, I think criticism can be given gently if it's going to help, right? So it's constructive. It's way to sort of, we want to see you achieve this, so this is why I'm giving you this criticism, rather than a criticism like that's very broad, like, oh, these kids are always getting into trouble, or they're not going anywhere, right? That's very different, and that will be received very differently than I want to see you, more involved in activities, right? I don't like that you're getting into fights. I don't like that I see you always in the principal office. That's a different approach.
Mm-hmm.
So our community, we are a small community in St. Croix, or in the Virgin Islands in general, but we all can start with the way that we speak to our youth and really be mindful. Are we criticizing them just to have a conversation, or are we giving something back to them that they could use to grow and develop? Also, as adults, how are we dealing with conflict? Are we using our words, or are we using other things to sort of settle situations?
Wow.
So again, kids, teenagers, adolescents, they're all paying attention to how we are managing ourselves. So we have to walk the walk and not just talk the walk. We have to really be an example in how we manage conflict resolution with our neighbors, with our, with someone that maybe you don't always see eye to eye with. Kids are paying attention. I think that's the point I want to make.
Yeah.
That I don't have the perfect solution, but we can start with us.
Yeah.
It can start with me. It can start with you, and we can all play a part in how we speak to children and how we handle ourselves. You're paying attention as well.
Well, Dr. Peters, let me tell you something. Of course, the conversation will continue on the Chaz Hollywood Show on Monday.
Yep.
She's my guest on Monday.
Yeah. Okay.
The clinical psychologist
Uh-huh.
in Houston, Texas. What hurts me is to know the talents that's being exported that she could have been right here in our educational system.
Right.
And also she knows what it likes to be bullied because she was also a bullying victim, as she indicated right here. And she was told you're never going to make nothing of yourself, etc., etc.
And even while she's away, I can detect the love that she has for the Virgin
Look,
Islands.
just like how your daughter, I know a little.
Yeah.
I know Zena a little. Okay, these are my children.
Yeah.
Her sisters. Okay,
Wow.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Okay, the only thing missing is her late mom, and whatever passed on and whatever. But let me tell you, these are our daughters. I could never see your daughter, Zena, none of my daughters, even Dr. Bria James, Dr. Edward Brown. I mean, Dr. Shanice Rojas Heidman. These all have PhDs, degrees, and whatever, and they're from the Virgin Islands.
Well, let me just say to you, Doctor, I so much appreciate you sharing with us this evening. I don't even have the words to fully express my level of gratitude. So thank you so much for joining us this evening.
We truly
Thank
appreciate
you for
it.
inviting me on the call. Thank you.
Take care, baby. Monday.
Awesome
Baby,
job you're doing.
I'll talk to you then.
Okay, bye.
Blessings to you.
You see, I always have as a reporter, and I want to bring in the one on the computer,
Shanice.
the Chinese. I always have I'm known to have this type of a reputation where, as like my bag of tricks, I use.
Wow.
Even as a journalist, when I was into the journalism and news director, I always have something.
Your bag of surprises.
That's right.
Shanice,
we haven't
Yes.
forgotten you, girl.
yeah. Well, you've listened to what she shared with us, and I'm certain that you, from your neck of the woods, you can share with us a little. Notice how she said that, we, the adults, have to watch how we interface with each other. That goes for me. It goes for all of us here connected. It goes for every parent out there, every neighbor, professionals, the police officers, the teachers. We really have to watch how we interface with each other. What messages, what signals we're sending out to the youth as we deal with each other. This is just so critical. But I let me just get this from you. And it would have been good if the doctor could have shared with that, in that with us. What I noticed is that we had a situation because we're talking about the children right now. Primarily those who are still in school. But even those who are out of school, 21, 22, 24, 25, getting into problems, they went through the same system that the current ones are going through. And their problems didn't just begin today. It has its genesis, its roots in the system somewhere at an earlier stage. And so I want to share this with you, or ask you rather, what steps do you all take when you find children having conflict that goes back to the neighborhood, but yet being manifested on the school campus? How do you reach out so as to make sure that, everybody's beef issue, if I may, is being addressed? What steps do you all take in your neck of the woods to deal with such situations?
So it's a little bit different for me because I'm with the younger grades, but I know they do have certain situations where they call in members from the community into the school to have a meeting to try to rectify the situation, because we did have even though I'm in elementary school, we did have a situation where, in the neighborhood, the adults were going at it to the point where a weapon was pulled outside of our school, and which put us in a lockdown. And so when things get to that level, the parents, along with outside people, police officers, conflict resolution people, they come in and they have to sit down and have a meeting and figure out how can we resolve this problem so we can keep the students safe, because at the end of the day, we're here for the students, nothing else. And
That's
so,
important. That's very important. This is critical. And I hope the parents who are following this program, they will take a note. I hope even our judges, police officers, and senators, they're taking note. Because we had this very disturbing situation where a young man, he was acquitted, or rather charges were dismissed against him. Charges related to kidnapping, domestic violence, child abuse. And 34 days later, he was unalive, along with another brother, you know. And I saw some comments where people were saying, well, you live by the sword, you die by the sword. And they were talking as though, well, like, it's revenge. And I thought to myself that when you have situations like that, I think the authorities should call in the families, find out who all is connected in that struggle, and see where that there can be some kind of counseling, discussion to quell the whole thing. What do you think?
Well, I am one of the original members of the School Security Bureau
Mm-hmm.
in its inception
Mm-hmm.
here in St. Croix,
Mhm.
one of the officers. And it was just three of us and Corporal and Commander
Mm-hmm.
George Farrelly, God rest his soul,
Mm-hmm.
whatever. Okay. When we first entered the schools, they didn't want us there.
Hmm.
Okay, they felt threatened. They
Mm-hmm.
felt that we are officers, we should be on the streets fighting crime and not being in an educational arena.
Mm-hmm.
However, they loved us afterwards
Mm-hmm.
because yours truly was able, and my colleagues were able to establish networks
Mm-hmm.
with the students and saying the very same thing that you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
I had informants.
Mm-hmm. Hmm.
I had informants.
Critical.
Critical.
Mm-hmm.
And by eye contact, or kinesics, body language,
Mm-hmm.
they told me what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so they didn't have to be ratting or somebody accused them of ratting or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
We used to call assemblies. At first, when I remember one time I was at a school and I wanted to call an assembly, and the principal said, no, you can't do that, Officer Nips. You have that authority. I said, I do have authority to say that, sir.
Mm-hmm.
I do. Because I said, there's something brewing that you don't know about.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to get to the prison. Oh, I want to complain to the chief. I said, do what you want to do. I would stand suspended, but I'm going to fight for this because this is not going to happen on the campus.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm saying is everybody's called together.
Mm-hmm.
We have parents coming to meetings.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them say, I ain't going to no meeting. No, I don't want to hear that. This is your child.
Mm-hmm.
You have to come to the meeting. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
We bring them into the meetings. We have counseling in the meetings.
Mm-hmm.
We tell them from a police perspective what would happen if the child continues to do what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
The principal states their rules, their expulsion, etc., etc. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and then now we look at the child and says, now what are you going to do? What do you want me to say? I said, no. I want you to say what you're going to do.
Mm-hmm.
I know what I would like you to do. I want you to say what you're going to do.
Mm-hmm.
Because suppose they kick you out of school, where are you going? Where are you going? You're going to go in the streets, and we have to deal with you again.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to deal with you again. Let's deal with you here.
Mm-hmm.
So just like what Dr. Peters was stating,
Mm-hmm.
bringing everyone together
Yeah.
in order to solve the problem.
Mm-hmm.
Not just pointing at the police, pointing here and there, because
Mm-hmm.
we are hated.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, police. Oh, no, I want a police.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we're hated. But then when something happens, everybody runs away. We run to danger.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
The police runs to danger. The
Mm-hmm.
firefighters run to dangers.
Mm-hmm.
The medical staff run to dangers.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm saying is that collectively, we must stop this foolishness about,
Mm-hmm.
oh, well, we don't need this help. We do need us.
Mm-hmm.
I remember one time working in Christian State where nobody called the police for a whole week.
Mm-hmm.
There was no 911 calls for a whole week.
Mm-hmm.
We have this place under control. It's not out of control right now.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't say this when I was active, so would have charged me for speaking out of turn, but I can say it now.
Mm-hmm.
We're out of control.
Mm-hmm.
Period. I'm sick and tired of hearing, oh, there's not so much police officers, nobody's business.
Mm-hmm.
Keep that to ourselves. It's how you delegate them.
Mm-hmm.
It's what you do.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
I don't know why it is so difficult for us to implement some basic steps to resolve our issues here in the territory. I'm just thinking that even in terms of when you have gun violence victims coming into the emergency room, I think the first thing is you begin to question those victims to find out, well, what are the connections? Let's connect the dots. And the police should just go out and find, the connections in the community. Bring everybody in together, man. Come on, man. Let's resolve this thing.
Well, let me tell you, a lot of the gun violence that's happening on the weekends is happening at these bars.
Uh-huh.
I wrote a lot of editorials on Facebook, okay, and at the solution. Because if you're not a solution to the problem, you're the problem.
Exactly.
What I explained for the governor right down to delegate and send a directive to the DCLA commissioner, whomever he or she might be. They're going to know that bars are monitored from 6 p.m. Saturday to 6 a.m. Sunday. If they do that, we're going to have any of these shootings at these bars. You know, I'm going to tell you why. When you go to close them, sometimes they're open way beyond. Look at the statistics. Most of these shootings happen way beyond the time it's supposed to close. Okay? I, as an officer, have pulled up to the bars. They tell me, "Oh, officer, I was happy." I said, no, don't go into the officer. Nothing is good. What I want you to do, I want you to, everybody out of there. At 3:45, everybody goes out. Get in their cars, they leave. The bar still remains open. I said, "No, what's going on?" "Oh, everything good enough." No, everything's good. I'm waiting on you to turn the lights out. Because you know what it does? They'll come right back and close the door and still continue drinking inside of the bars. Okay? So what I'm saying is when it comes to these foolishness with gunplay on the weekends and stuff like that, then God forbid we don't have another issue of gunplay this weekend because it's Friday. DCLA officers should be out there right now. Okay? If you have 4 of them on St. Croix, 2 of them work from Monday to Wednesday, off Thursday and Friday, and you put them on Sunday and Saturday. Okay, or Saturday and Sunday. They monitor, they patrol the bars. Restaurants close at a certain time, nightclub close at a certain time. That's it. And if they're found in violation, they're cited. If they do that, this foolishness would stop. I'm gonna tell you that right now. It will stop. I used to do it. I used to be challenged. They used to complain to me, "Oh, we're gonna get your badge, we're gonna do this to you." I said, "Do whatever you want to do." Okay? I'm going to do what I have to do as an officer to protect our community. That's what needs to happen. This foolishness. The governor and everyone in authority needs to come and actually speak directly to the criminals. Don't tell the people alone, "Oh, report when you see things." Yes, we understand that, but you need to go in front of that camera and say, "Look, criminals, you are not going to terrorize our community anymore. We're sick and tired of this. I've ordered our police officers to do what they have to do, and I'm backing them 1,000%. That's what needs to be done.
So let me ask you, why? I really don't understand why this is. That the situation you just mentioned that you had your undercover network.
Sure.
To get information. And I recall there was a time when a young man was killed on St. Croix. He was held as a prisoner in the Grove Place area for a period of time after he had been kidnapped in the Catherine's area in a Volkswagen. Taken there, executed eventually. I understand after they had beaten him up, it came to a point where they said, "Waste him." So he was unalive, dumped somewhere by the Anguilla landfill. And if my memory serves me correctly, because I taught at Central High School at the time, it was through undercover operatives they cracked the case. And I'm wondering, do we have an undercover unit in the Virgin Islands Police Department at this point in time? I'm wondering. And then you speak about the monitoring of the bars. I don't even see. I remember when in your days when we had foot patrols in the town of Christiansted. I don't see any foot patrols out here. Let me show you another thing. In the Condado area in Puerto Rico, when I've been there on the weekend, I see police cars with flashing lights every now and again driving around. I don't see these things.
All of those initiatives the department used to do. I don't know why it stopped. Okay, and I just want to get people to understand that I'm not here to bash the department. I love my police department. Some people say, "Oh, Officer Nibs, you retired. Go home to with your wife, relax." No, I'm not retired right now. I'm not retired. I still feel that I'm working because I'm sick and tired of seeing our community the way it's going. I don't like the way it's going. It's not going, okay? We used to do foot patrols. I could have ringed out from my underwear to my pants, my shirt in a night in Christian said, with my partner walking the streets. I could have gone and actually wring out my clothes with sweat and stuff. Okay? I remember one time they were robbing a lot of the persons that was walking, a bunch of white girls and guys working at the bars, and we used to have to escort them up in the hills to the different apartments, whatever. And one night we told them we're not going to do that anymore. He said, "Why? Why, Officer Nibs? Why, Officer?" My partner. I said, "No, go ahead and walk. We're monitoring you." We stopped it. We suppressed the criminal element. We're showing them that you're not in charge.
You realize what a difference it would make if we had in the Virgin Islands an organization of retired police officers who could sit down with new recruits and the young guys in the police department and interface. I mean, once a month, you have a little social gathering where you guys can get together and discuss, police approaches, etc. Because experience matters.
Sure.
And in such an atmosphere, coming together of retired police officers and those who are now active on the force, you exchange ideas, you exchange approaches, best practices. I mean, come on, man.
You see, a lot of the officers right now are so frustrated. A lot of them are frustrated. I'm going to talk to myself. To come and say, "Officer Nibs, can I talk to you? I used to see the little boy growing up, and Officer Nibs with my gruff program and their program and all that type of stuff, and whatever. And the department is under consent decree right now. Okay, and of course, it's under consent decree because as an officer, when you take action, you have to put it on paper. You have to articulate it. Okay, you can't just say a person was aggressive. Say, well, in what way they were. You have to be able to expand yourself. If you have to, like they say, you have to use physical force against a citizen. You have to explain how the physical force was used and for what reason. And in the absence of that, that's the reason why we're under consent decree.
Wow.
However, a lot of officers right now are afraid to act, even though they know they can act and actually put it on paper. They're afraid to be chastised. And let me tell you, one time at a workplace, you're talking about violence in schools. Violence at the workplace happens a lot. It was at a restaurant here where this young lady was assaulted by a coworker. The manager tried to hold a meeting the day before, and the assaulting worker decided she's not coming to the meeting. She returned the morning and assaulted her. When the police arrived, which was myself and my partner, she was dripping blood. We had to give her stuff to wipe it and call the ambulance. I told her, I said, "Listen, when she comes out, I want you to take your hands and gently place on her and says, 'I am placing you under arrest with the assistance of Officer Nibs.'" So said, so done. When I went back to the station, people must say, "What wrong with you, Nibs? What wrong with you? Crazy. They ain't gonna stand up in court, you know, and say, 'What wrong with you, Mr. What do you? Do something wrong with you?' It's not gonna stand up." My supervisor looked at me.
Arrest.
My supervisor looked at me and said, "Nibs is not going to stand up, Mr. Documentation." He was at that envy and jealousy with them because I used to document my stuff. So that's okay. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I went before Judge Maria Cabret. You know, when you go before Judge Maria Cabret, all your T's better be crossed and I's better be dotted. She found probable cause. When I went back to the station, they downed their heads. Shame. That was the first and only citizen arrest I ever had made. It can happen. Officers can do their job, but you have to know how to do it.
Right.
And you have to do it with confidence. And sometimes you do it with ridicule. I've had supervisors tell me, "Oh, no, I'm not going to approve this report." No. I said, "Well, you're the same. Don't you're being subordinate." I said, "Well, write me on charges." I've stood up. That's the reason why I was such a target. But you see, what happens is I left the police department with a legacy that Nibs document like Nibs. That I say that, you see how Nibs used to document? We have to document like Nibs. Document. That's what police work is all about, documenting. I'm sick and tired of people meeting me and saying, "But Nibs, that's why I filed a report the other day when I went and paid for that report. That report, they had nothing I tell the police that I used to put everything in the report.
Mm-hmm.
So when I get into court, I don't want to be embarrassed.
Mm-hmm.
Officer names in the four corners of the document.
Mm-hmm.
If that's so important, how come it's not there?
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm saying is, you as the officer have to do what you have to do.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
When you're out there, the officer, the government is not behind of you. You're by yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? I'm saying this is my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
You're by yourself. You're guilty until you're innocent.
Mm-hmm.
You're taken before the Internal Affairs Unit.
Mm-hmm.
You're guilty until you're innocent.
Mm-hmm.
You have to prove to them through your union and fight to show your innocence.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you have to document.
Mm-hmm. And you know, as you speak of that, you know, I recall a time when we had housing police in the Virgin Islands. And we no longer have a
Yes.
housing police. But when you look at
Fortunately.
several communities, you know, plagued by violence today, I think, you know, just having some kind of, call it a quasi form of housing police, where, you know, like, let's take, for example, Williams Delight,
Mhm.
you know, I think it would be nice if we had a regular police presence in that community. Whether you want to have, there is a place, I think it's in Japan, where they have some small mobile units
Hmm.
in certain areas, and the police are stationed there. So that if you have a small mobile unit in Williams Delight, where you have police there, and every now and again they just simply, whether it's drive around the community,
Look, let me tell
show
you,
that we're friends.
our
we-
department have
you know.
a lot of talent. We have a
Uh-huh.
lot of people that's there. Okay,
Uh-huh.
you don't have to be part of no clique or anything.
Mm-hmm.
If they utilize even the presence officers that's there,
Mm-hmm.
if they utilize the talent and the expertise of these officers,
Mm-hmm.
all what you're saying will be done. We used to do it.
Mm-hmm.
We used to do it. But then a lot of things stopped. The DARE program,
Mm-hmm.
for instance.
Yep.
We went to Illinois State Police Academy.
Mm-hmm.
That was a program where it's like obtaining a PhD in 2 weeks. It was a hard program.
Mm-hmm.
There was stateside cops that was kicked out of that program.
Mm-hmm.
All of us on the Virgin Islands survived, and we came back with our, I call it my degree, even though it was a certificate
Mm-hmm.
of the DARE program.
Mhm.
Where is the DARE program today? It's no longer there.
Mm-hmm.
Officer friendly program.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about weed and seed.
Yeah.
Here, Christopher,
Yeah.
Officer Christopher, who's still in the force,
Mm-hmm.
had the weed and seed program going.
We really don't
Okay,
care
and whatever.
about.
Where is that?
We don't care about the children.
Where's the McGruff? McGruff, the crime dog, should be
Even-
in every parade, children parade, and festivals between the islands. Where are they?
Even the character education programs we had in the schools have been done away with. We really don't care about the children. But you know what? We have a back to school. What's it? Back to school song for the children.
Ooh,
I think. Hmm? I'm Josh. If you're
My,
around, hearing us,
in the meantime, can I just say something about what you guys
Go
were
ahead.
talking about?
Yeah, go ahead.
I feel like we need to set an example and value the officers, because recently I noticed that in the Virgin Islands that the officers are starting pay was in the 30,000s. And
Mhm.
so that's not a livable wage. And I feel
Mhm.
like that's an issue, because that stops the newer generation from wanting to become police officers.
Mhm.
And we need the new generation to become police officers because they understand the culture that's happening now.
Mhm.
And in order to prevent a lot of the things that are happening, I feel like we need officers that understand the culture, because the older generation is different from the new generation.
Mhm.
And some things they find disrespectful, the new culture doesn't find disrespectful. And that's where there's a disconnect between the communities and stuff. So I feel like let's start with valuing our officers, and therefore more of the younger generation will want to get on board and help, and that should help alleviate some of the crimes and things that are happening. I also feel like they need to train officers on how to deal with different situations, for example mental crisis and different things like that, because it's sad and unfortunate, but a lot of the older generation, they don't believe in mental illness and all these things that's happening in the world. So
You think so?
yes, I think so, because think about it. When something is wrong, when I don't want to use the word normal, but the older generation, when kids were born a little bit different, they would hide them in the house. They wouldn't want anybody to know. They were ashamed of the person. For example, if the person was autistic or has Down syndrome,
Mhm.
that was frowned upon, and a lot of
Mhm.
people they weren't aware of how to deal with that situation, and
Mhm.
so or they would say, "Oh, it's nothing wrong with them."
Mhm.
But there is there it was very evident that something was wrong with them and people just didn't know how to handle the situation. So I feel like
Mhm,
they need to train the officers on how to deal with certain
Mhm.
situations
mhm,
and how to respond to certain situations, because a lot of times, you know, they come in, they're already on edge. I understand the job is dangerous, okay?
mhm,
Nobody's taking that away. So they already come in on 10. Instead of trying to solve the issue there, they're already on 10. They're already anxious to step into the situation.
mhm,
Whereas, you know, if they come in on a more calm and more understanding and empathetic,
mhm,
then the outcome could be different. I want to say, for example, in where I live, there's like a whole mental health department. And so
Mhm.
if there's a 911 call and they say, hey, someone is running down the street naked,
mhm,
there will be a certain type of unit that will respond to that person, because they'll say, okay, nobody in their right mind is running down the street naked. So
mhm,
let's dispatch these types of officers who are trained in this situation to go
mhm.
handle the person.
Okay, so let me just say this here. Perhaps we need to bring a couple of them psychologists, sociologists to work with the, well, let them be part of the police force here in the territory, because these are professionals who can deal with the areas that you're talking about. Now, I have seen a video online, perhaps many Virgin Islanders have seen it, Virgin Islanders have seen it, where an officer was issuing a ticket to a young man because he didn't have the front
The
license plate displayed. And this guy abused that officer verbally. And the officer remained calm. I don't know his name, but I know him by,
Robert
facial appearance.
Richards. Robert Richards
Okay.
is the name.
And he was calm and he just continued doing his job. And he had dialogue with the individual,
Yeah.
He also,
but in a very professional manner. That boy, listen, that man needs to be commended. Those, I think the authorities need to see how he dealt with that situation.
they must have already seen it.
And
but-
man,
No, it
no,
was
no,
not.
no,
it
no,
wasn't
no,
skip,
no,
no,
it
it
was
was
not
real.
skip.
He had
Yeah.
yeah. Another officer on board with
The
him.
other officer's name was Officer Modest.
Yeah, and I remember the young man. I don't know who he is, but
Officer Richards.
Yeah.
Robert Richards.
he was going
I'm,
off.
together.
I'm telling you, this officer handled this in a very professional manner.
Get into what you said briefly. Our salary was $14,500 in 1987 when I joined the police force.
Uh-huh,
At that time, of course, the economy was different.
uh-huh.
When I left, it was about 80 something thousand dollars, with overtime close to $200,000. But what
Yeah.
I'm saying is, if you're coming on the force for the money,
Uh-huh.
don't come.
Uh-huh.
Don't come for the money. Okay,
Uh-huh.
you come because you care about your community.
Mhm.
So, like you said, I'm so excited to hear about this song that's gonna play.
And before we go to this, I want to say one other thing to you, Shanice. You said the generation gap must be bridged. It's not if you just took all young officers and you brought them into the police department, there would be something missing, a connection, a bridge from one to the next. The way how life goes, as the generation goes, there is always an intermediate generation to bridge the old and the young. You don't just get rid of one to bring in the other. We are all one big
Do
family.
you know how much times, even to the last meeting they had at Sunny Isles
Uh-huh.
with the chief and all of them there, you talk about retirees coming back
Mm-hmm.
and whatever and do what they have to do.
Mm-hmm.
The chief, in his good way, did indicate that he has spoken to one of the retired persons, I believe a lieutenant or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
to bring us back. Up to now, waiting for that. Okay.
Yeah. One other thing I want to say to you, Shanice, before we go to the song, I have family just graduating from college. When they write letters, they come to me sometimes and ask me if I can review that for them to see if it's all well written. So I'm saying that, we can help each other, we can work together.
Mm-hmm.
We have to bridge the gap. We need the young, we also need the experienced older ones.
And you're right. You're right. I said the same thing even with our last interview with Dr. Bria James.
Mm-hmm.
All these people are born right here.
Mm-hmm.
Why can't she be the Commissioner of Education?
Mm-hmm.
You can have Dion Wells there
Mm-hmm.
to guide, but We need young.
Absolutely.
We need it.
Absolutely. They got energy. We want the young people to come in, you know.
Dr. Peters, you just heard Dr. Peters.
Yeah.
She did a presentation at the breast cancer and prostate cancer symposium I held a few months ago at UVI. I mean, when she stood there, tears came to my eye. I know from a little, not like your daughter, a little from a little top.
Yeah.
I says, wow, professional.
Mm-hmm.
She's about big name in Houston, Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, she have a lot of clients,
Mhm.
children and whatever, disorders, whatever. She's
Mhm.
gonna be on our program on Monday.
Mhm.
Of course, not physically there, but of course by phone and whatever.
Mhm.
But what I'm saying is the talent, we have a lot of talents. We
Mhm.
have Edward Brown, Dr. Brown.
I know Dr. Brown very well.
I started him out in broadcasting
Mhm.
over at Joe Bar
Mhm.
station or whatever.
Mhm.
Brown was there.
Mhm.
He was in the projects. He saw all of the nonsense downstairs,
Mhm.
but he walked a straight path.
Mhm.
We have Shanice Rojas Hyman,
Mhm.
again, another one of our daughters,
Mhm.
big educator in the States, PhD.
Mhm.
So why are we losing all of them there?
Let me show you guys. Let me show you guys a case where experience comes in. You see, driving. An experienced driver would know how to go down a muddy roadway because he has had experience driving that, especially with stick shift. The new individual, the inexperienced driver, can't handle that. And I can tell you that because I have had to drive vehicles on slippery slopes, whether going up or going down. You have to know when to just simply ease off the accelerator.
Mm-hmm.
There are times you have to just let the vehicle do its own sliding, gliding, don't fight it. You know, just like experienced swimmers know how to deal with a riptide, the inexperienced swimmer doesn't know how to do that. So experience matters. Let's head
I'll
up.
also say experience, sometimes good experience matters, but I've seen situations where teachers have been in the classroom for 20 something years and they still don't know what they're doing, versus there's new teachers who are excellent.
Absolutely, absolutely. Because you know what? Some of these experienced teachers lack initiative.
Thank you.
They're stuck like dinosaurs, refuse to reinvent themselves.
Mm-hmm. Wake up, everybody.
Okay, then. All right, we go with that song now. That's the one?
Yeah. Let me tell you something. I called her. She didn't know I was gonna call her. Okay. Look how spontaneous she responded. She was in a coffee shop, having a coffee.
For bringing her on board with us.
No problem. Anytime you want, I'll give you a number and everything. No problem. I'll let her to know that. Okay. Because hey, we have to keep this dialogue going.
Yeah,
It's
definitely.
important.
Definitely.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I mean, she treats students, disorders. She's a psychologist and everything. You know. Oh,
Yeah. You're muted. No, you're muted.
I was muted for 2 seconds. I just.
When you say they're hearing us,
So I cut.
it doesn't matter either.
We're gonna get these.
Yeah, we all the
We gotta get these pointers.
So I'm gonna let you two guys handle that. You know?
Yeah, no problem.
I have spoken enough for the night.
Let me tell you, it's amazing. Okay, it's amazing. I can tell you right now. The governor could call me. You see that gun violence nonsense they got?
Oh.
In Masonic Lodge,
Yeah.
or there's a cousin, don't call me.
Yeah.
I might have to mash on toes. I can get it done. I can get it done. The criminals, they talk to me. I know what's going on out there. The criminals are rat, you know. They're rat, you know.
Yeah.
That's true.
You know what information I pass on to Chief to Cornelius? We have a lot of respect.
We can't hear anything. It's just silent. We can be the change that we want to see. Guys, we can't hear anything. You guys are on mute.
Stream live out there. So I hope that the children, I don't want to call them kids, although you have your Love Kids program, you know. Now we understand how it is, man. Listen, huh? Anyway, the children have heard it. I hope they enjoy it. But we got some tips to share with them. I'll let you guys do that.
All right. So whether you're heading back to primary school, stepping into high school for the first year, or continuing, going off to college, especially for the ones just going off to college, I want to tell you guys to be very careful of your surroundings at all time. You know, thinking back on so many things have been happening lately. That case with Nolan Wells is still ain't sitting right with me. How that young man went off with those group of so-called friends and lost his whole life. So I want to tell you guys really to make sure who you're going hanging with and what you're getting yourself into. Please stay alert. Okay. Um, for the little ones, sending off your little ones for the very first time, the pre-K kindergarteners, we here at the Choices Radio show want to make sure this school year is safe, productive, and successful for all.
Mhm.
You know it, so lock it in. We got you quick back to school playbook with essential safety tips and study habits to start the semester off strong.
Mhm. Mhm.
You want to continue?
Sure, I'll continue. Of course, study habits and of course, and the safety tips. First of all, let's talk safety. Parents and drivers, especially you motorists out there, this one is for you. Definitely. Watch the school zones. Morning traffic is back in full swing. Slow down school grounds. Watch out for crossing guards. And keep your eyes peeled for kids walking near sidewalks and bus stops. Bus stop prejudice. Students stand at least 5 big steps back from the curb while waiting for your ride. Always wait for the bus to come to a complete stop before stepping up. Stay visible. If your youth walk or ride bikes to school, ensure that backpacks have reflective straps or bright colors so drivers can spot them clearly in the morning light. And continue on with me.
All right. Devices down to all students, walkers, and teenage drivers, especially because one day I was at the complex and I saw some kids driving off, and I said, wow, if you're going to leave the school campus like that, I don't even want to see what you're like on the road. Please take your time and be careful. The road is not a playground. Put those phones away. Okay, no texting while driving. We know what could happen, and if y'all didn't know what could happen, please review the videos. There were some videos showing online, and if you've seen what happened in the videos, you will not be texting whilst driving. Keep your head up, your ears unplugged when you're crossing the streets, and stay alert to your surroundings at all times, like I mentioned previously. Um, let's talk about hitting those straight A's.
Mhm.
Success starts with setting good habits right from day one. So school started on August the 10th. That was the day to lock it in. Make sure you stay locked in until I think it ends sometime in May.
Mhm.
So set up yourself for a distraction-free study space. Find a quiet place, well-lit area at home, dedicated just to your homework. That means don't be using our phone to text us doing the homework. Wait till our homework done and then you can get back to texting because you know that's a distraction.
Mhm.
Keep the TV screens off and the cell phones in another room during study hours. Master the 25-5 technique Pomodoro. Don't burn yourself out studying for hours nonstop. I could tell you about that. One day I burned myself out to the midnight oil, and when I was finished, my printer was not the best of friends with me. I felt like Cinderella at the ball. After all that staying up and typing my work, the printer had a line that it was putting in my work. So I bring it to the teacher, and the teacher said, yeah, this here you have an incomplete. Get it off my desk. I'll never forget that incident. So make sure all your devices are working properly when you're turning in your work, because if you have a teacher like I had back then, you will be in problems.
Mhm.
So work with a total focus for 25 minutes, then take a 5-minute break to stretch, grab some water, or rest your brain. You don't want to be burned out. Burned out, trust me. When you burn yourself out, you're going to get yourself sick, you're going to be tired, and you're going to probably not do your best work. Use a daily planner or an app. Write down your homework, your upcoming quizzes, your project deadlines, the day you get them. Don't procrastinate. I could tell y'all about being a
Mhm.
procrastinator.
Mhm.
You're gonna burn yourself out. Stay well organized. It eliminates late night Sunday stress. Establish a consistent nighttime routine. Our grade school day starts the night before. That's something I trying to get my young man into, my 16-year-old. It's always a conflict with me and him. Because I have to sometimes make sure I go back and put things in his bag that I know he gonna slip up and leave behind home.
Mhm.
So set out your uniforms, pack your backpacks, turn off electronic screens. That's our next one there. I could tell you these teenagers, that cell phone will run all night long with some of them. at least 30 minutes, right? Before bedtime. So you get your 8 to 9 hours of solid sleep.
And for the Khan Academy K-12 and college prep, best for video lessons, practice exercises, and personalized learning in math, science, humanities, and SAT prep. Costs are 100% free. Why? It's great. Covers everything from basic arithmetic to advanced placement AP courses. The CK12 Foundation, grades 6 to 12, best for interactive STEM concepts, free digital textbooks, and adaptive practices. Cost is free, no cost for you. Now, for kindergarten, elementary, K5, K5th grade, the Star Fall Pre-King and third grade, best for early literacy, phonics, reading, and simple math. Hey, cost free basic access, and for PBS kids and PBS learning and media, K5th grade, best for interactive games, videos, and foundational skills anchored by educational TV shows. Costs nothing to you. And also the Prodigy Math, grades 1 to 8th, best for fantasy role-playing math games where students solve math problems to progress. This is so important. And you continue with that?
Yes. All right. So now we are getting into the information for high school, 9th to 12th grade. Quizlet, grades 6 on to 12 and beyond. Best for digital flashcards, vocabulary building, practice tests, and memorization tools. The cost is free basic tier with premium upgrade options. Is that PHET? FET, I guess, interactive simulations, grades 6 through 12. It's best for virtual laboratory experiments in physics, chemistry, biology, and earth science. The cost is free from the University of Colorado, Boulder. Socratic by Google for grades 8 through 12. Best for AI-powered homework help that breaks down complex science, math, and history questions into visual step-by-step explanations. And the cost is free on that app. SparkNotes and No Fair Shakespeare, grades 9 through 12. Best for high school literature, study guides, plot summaries, and modern English translations of classic texts. The cost free online access.
Storyline online, K through 4th grade. Best for listening to children's books and read aloud by famous authors with animated illustrations. Cost free. Middle school, 6th to 8th grade. Read Works and Common Lit, grades 3 to 12. Best for reading comprehension passages, vocabulary, and literacy analysis. No cost to you. Crash Course Kids and Crash Course, grades 4 to 12. Best for high energy animated YouTube video lessons covering science, history, literature, and social studies, no cost to you. And code.org, K-12. Best for learning coding fundamentals, computer science, and logic through interactive tutorials at no cost to you.
We are about coming up on our timing. But if any of the parents listening want to get any of the websites that we mentioned, we have a email address where you can email us at, what is the email address for choices? Email address.
All right, that's
Okay,
While you guys look for the email address,
But you can
I just
also
want to say,
call in at 773-0390 and 773-0490.
while you
And
guys look for the
also,
email address,
This program was very, very impactful. I must say, I'm really honored to be a guest here. Of course, on Monday, I'll be my program here at the Chaz Hollywood Show. Of course, I'm still on the other side, normally on the other side of the controls, but I'm really appreciative of Dr. Peters as the host indicated that he really appreciated me having on the program.
Definitely.
Well, hey, listen, I think this was a pretty productive program this evening. And for those of you, like we say, if you need some, I'm trying to put up a card there. Well, am I the one trying to put up a card?
Yeah. Okay,
All right, go ahead.
so once again, the email address to reach out to us is choices2720@outlook.com. So if you have any questions that you didn't get to ask us, shoot us an email, please, so we can get back to you. We could give you the information for the websites to help you with your kids. Please, and call in. Don't be shy. Please call in. We would love to hear the voice of our community. This is how we help you, and you help us.
And also, if you would like to contact myself, 340-220-KIDS Kids 5437. I'd be glad to assist you as well.
And we can give you another telephone number. 340-208-0055. You can also reach us at that number. Shanice, it's good to have you this evening. You're being bogged down with all of these studies. You know, I understand that you have the vision, you have the mission to accomplish. But hopefully, Shanice, you can join us at some, different intervals every now and again. We'd like to have you on board with us.
Yes, most
Maybe not
definitely.
too busy, not done with the weather. Just pop in. You don't have to sit in for the whole show, but we
Exactly.
just want you to just make a brief appearance in and out. The audience misses you.
Well, Shanice, it's, of course, I'd like to meet you in person, but I know you probably were shocked to say, what? 14,500? And here am I advocating that the salary is so low now. That's what we made. But Shanice, one of these good days, I'd love to meet you in person. God bless you, okay, and your family.
All right, no problem. Thanks for having me, guys. And I
You're
just
hearing
want
us,
to put
right,
this
Shanice?
out there. Yes, can you guys hear me?
Oh,
Hello?
I don't think she's
she's.
hearing us.
I think she's hearing us, but we
We
can't
can't
hear
hear
her.
her.
Josh, you've got Shanice muted. Yeah,
That's
because
all
he
right.
made
Yeah.
he did some,
When the songs.
when
Yeah.
the songs were being played. All right, Shanice, we understand. But good thing that you're hearing us. And I don't even see Josh.
But again, I say programs like these are needed.
Mhm.
Even discussions like these should be in the Senate halls of the Senate
Right,
and whatever, because, hey, we're losing a lot of our children,
definitely,
okay, all the time.
definitely.
And we can save a lot of them.
Mhm.
Okay, we hear the negative, but there's a lot of positive as well.
Mhm.
And that's what it's all
You,
about.
you know what's unfortunate is that sometimes we have we had a growth mindset um, exercise and exposition, if I may.
Mhm.
When was that? 2024? We did that at the Sunny Isles Amphitheater. Lots of good information we shared. We had supplies that we gave out, and the turnout was so poor.
Highly poor. And it's so sad. What's good for the youth, nobody don't support it, and I just can't understand. I can't come to terms with
Well,
why.
you see, this is what a lot of the children tell me. They said, I've had to stand in a surrogate dad to graduations, recitals, and whatever. I've gone to fathers and said, well, what's going on here? This is your daughter. Okay, so because you have nothing to do with the mother, you divorce the child,
That's so
you don't care,
sad.
okay? That is sad. It is sad, okay? And it happens all the time. But you have to remember, for the younger girls, younger women that's coming up right now, learn from those of the past, period, okay? If this guy is in front of you, you do not know who he is, he might change. You're having sex, use protection. Because you don't know who this guy is. By the time you mention I'm pregnant, I know my child. And at times that attitude transcends, and in the belly of the mother, the child is communicating all that stuff back to them. So we have to understand that that happens. And also, for a lot of you young men out there, not because you have a youth. Some of them think, well, I have a youth now, so I can die. I don't care about living. Okay, that's the attitude with some of them.
Such a wrong mindset.
Such a wrong thing. Another thing too, placing earrings in young little boys' ears and stuff. Okay, my opinion is you shouldn't do that. Okay, and having them wear dreadlocks, you shouldn't do that. Okay, period. Now, some of you say, oh, I can do that. That's our religion. Okay, fine. No problem. However, if that's your religion, teach them about love then. And whatever. Because I'm seeing too much dreadlocks going the wrong way.
There is a reason why we have definitions and distinctions.
Yeah.
And these things are part of the protocols we have that sets parameters. You understand what I'm saying to you? So that you don't expect males to jump into a female bathroom. You understand?
Mhm.
You got a bathroom for females and you got a bathroom for males.
Mhm.
The other thing we need to emphasize is
Transgender.
she couldn't say anything because she's muted. The other thing is that we have to. Dr. Peters spoke about it, communication. Even, and I want to say that to the young people listening to us, even when you want to bring a relationship to an end,
Mhm.
you must understand that you communicate your position with sensitivity. Don't just come to a guy and you drop him like a hot potato. He may not be able to handle that. And so he acts in an irrational manner.
Domestic violence.
You got to know how to tone down, bring it down to him. Let's have a
And
conversation.
you have to
here.
understand you don't own people.
Right.
You don't own
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Two-way communication.
I think Shanice, you can hear us now.
Shanice,
Shanice?
can you hear us? Let's hear some final words from you this evening.
Yes, I just want to say to the young people, make sure you trust your gut.
Still not hearing you.
I'm hearing her.
Oh,
All right. Yeah, we
can
can
you hear
you
me
now.
now? Okay.
Yes, we can hear you.
I just want to
Loud and
say to the young people, never let your guard down and always trust your gut. And no means no. Set your boundaries early. When you hear that word no, that's what it means. It's just no. They don't need to have an explanation, anything. You tell someone to actually do something that you are not comfortable doing, no. And that's it.
That's it.
I also want to add, my fiance has dreadlocks down his back and an earring, and he is an officer. And that is the generational gap that we need to have. Dreadlocks and earrings does not equal a bad person.
My son also has the dreadlocks and he wants earrings too.
Is that dreadlocks or braids he has?
He
He has braids.
don't have braids. That's dreads.
That's dreads he has there?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
His hair is locked.
Well, I have two sons who both have them. They have serious dreads, you know. Ambakisi and Chinua.
Yeah.
They got dreads, you know. So I'm not gonna get hung up on that.
hoping one day, maybe in the future, maybe he'll decide it's on him.
Yeah.
I just always pray to instill a good character in himself.
Yeah, let me
I'm not gonna get hung up on that, but let me tell you something. You don't bring no dreadlocks man to me.
Oh,
really?
Let me just do a disclaimer.
Clean shave.
I'm talking about children, 4, 3, and
Okay,
5 years
all
old.
right.
That's what I'm talking about. Not when you're grown and you are putting those stuff on yourself.
Yeah.
That's what
All right.
I mean.
Okay. But the communication is definitely important. And you know, one thing you raised that, you know, there is a saying out of St. Lucia. It's okay to okay. You got to understand the Creole part. You know, it's okay to okay.
Yes.
Unless she says no.
Okay.
If she says no, it is not okay to okay.
Well, some of them read it differently. They said if she said no, it means yes.
Nah. No is no.
Okay.
And yes is yes.
In every language, officer, no is no. You can't send a mixed message. We need to understand no means no.
No means
no. C-O, no.
no means no. Supposed to means no, but in their minds it means yes.
Oh,
That's the
anyway,
problem.
listen, I think we had great communication this
Sure.
evening, and so hopefully we can do that again. And next time we're gonna have Dr. Peters in here with us, and someone else, and Shanice, and everybody. So
Yes. Oh, Lashana is in St. Croix.
Okay. Great surprise. Lashana is.
oh, she is.
Who's
Wow.
Lashana?
That's her sister.
All
So
right.
we gotta
You know
have
who-
her on
So
tonight.
you know who's the father?
No.
Zepho. For Zepho's
Oh, Lord
construction.
have
Oh, Lord have mercy. Yeah, Shanice? Oh,
my
Lord
God.
have mercy.
That we share the same sentiments.
Lord
How
have
is
mercy.
that PhD?
Huh?
PhD?
No, the other one.
Oh, the other one.
Yeah.
She's
Oh.
working on
The
one.
one who's
But
there
this
right
one,
now.
she's
visiting.
doing her second master's.
Yeah.
I'm doing a specialist, which is above a master's. So it's like a PhD without a dissertation.
All right. That's great. I
Well,
can mention all of
Congratulations and much success to you. All right. Well, folks, we've come full
Thank
circle.
you,
So
Shanice, for
bye to
coming
everyone.
with us, even though you were under the weather.
Enjoy the weekend. Be blessed.
And before I go,
Uh-huh.
I'd like to say to the young persons listening right now, it's not what they call you, it's what you answer to that counts.
Right. Wow. Absolutely. All right.
Thank you.